Good day, folks. Today I'm going to make some wine. I'm going to video this wine. I'm doing 4 different kinds of wine. I'm going to do 3 different kinds. The first video, nice wine. The first one is going to be pineapple wine. The second wine I'm going to make is a light mead, honey wine. And the third one I'm going to do is a peach and pear blend wine. The one I'm going to do at the end, I'll probably put in a separate video. I may put it in this one, I don't know, but it's a little bit more lengthy in making it, so I might do that in a separate video, and that's for marijuana wine. Yes, you heard it, marijuana wine. Okay, let's get started. Now, as you see, I've pre-measured out my sugar. It's 3 cups of sugar per gallon of wine that you're going to make. So what I want to do right now is I want to get some lukewarm water, not hot, not really cold, because you're going to have to get it equalized to room temperature. And so to do that faster, you know, lukewarm, like a light warm water. Like so. Now I'm only going to fill that up halfway with water, as you see. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get out our trusty wooden spoon. You do not want to use a metal spoon in these glass jars. I made that mistake once. I had liquid everywhere. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to give this a good stir up like this, so that the sugar starts to dissolve. Just beautiful. Now, I don't use any of that peptic enzyme or anything like that in my winemaking. You don't have to do all that. That's nicely mixed. We'll rest that there. Now, I have a special spoon here that I use for the yeast. Now, most people, when they're making wine, they either make small batches, about 2 liters, or they make large batches, 5 gallons. I do 1 gallon at a time because it's easier to monitor the temperature and the storage space. So at this point here, what I want to do is I want to take and put in my yeast. Right now, first I'm going to put in my fruit. And what am I using? It's just pineapple and pineapple juice. That's all it is. Open the can. Using canned pineapple is quicker in the process, because if you're using fresh pineapple, you have to boil it first. This way I don't have to boil the pineapple. I can just put it right in, just like so. Nicely, please. Little rinse, make sure we get all that goodness in there. Look at that, isn't that nice? Okay. Yes, the cans go to recycle afterwards, so that's already pre-washed. Now I'm going to add in 1 tablespoon of yeast. Now, I don't use brewer's yeast, I don't use champagne yeast, I use bread yeast. Why? Because it works the same. All yeast works the same. I'm going to take 1 tablespoon of yeast, like so. That goes over there, so we can do the next batch. Now I'm going to add the rest of my water. Same temperature. I'm going to fill it to just a couple inches below the top because this will foam up. Now, I want to give it another mix. Like so. Give the spoon a rinse. Okay. Now we're going to cover that. Cover that as I showed in the last video. This is the part that likes to give me a hard time. That's right. I use Glad cling wrap to cover the top. Okay. Now, there's one secret with making pineapple wine. You got to put in a cup of tea. Now, you got to put in a little lemon juice too, but because I didn't have lemon juice, I used a cup of lemon black tea for this. It works just the same. It's perfect, okay? So, cup of tea goes in. That works the enzymes that you need. We're a bit full there, but that should be alright once it's got its top on. We're going to give that another stir. Just a brief stir like so. Okay. Now we're going to put our top on. This acts like the lock on top that you use on carboys, right? You know, I just put on the saran wrap, make sure it's a little bit tight, just nice like that. I'm going to take an elastic band. I'm going to put that over the top like so, and I'm going to take my sewing needle and I'm going to put a few holes in the top so it can breathe. Now I'm going to put it in a warm, dark space, and I use under the sink for that. Is that hole too big? Yeah, that hole's too big, but it should be alright for now. Now under my sink is perfect temperature, right between 70 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. That's exactly where you want it for brewing temperature. Okay. Let's get on with the peach pear wine. Now basically the same thing. 3 cups of sugar per gallon. Add half lukewarm water. Give it the old Bob Marley and stir it up. That's good. Add in my fruit. Pear slices. I want all that goodness to everybody in the pool. There we go. Now we'll go to recycle. This might be a bit difficult. So I'm using, okay. I learned before, When opening a can with a can opener, do not do it on the towel on the counter, do it on the counter. The towel won't move. Makes it more difficult to open the can. There we are. And all that goodness, everybody in the pool just like so. There we go. Now at this point, here's all my fruit and sugar. Add in my yeast. Give it the old stir again. Add in my rest of my water. That's perfect. Give it another little wiggle there. Put on my top. This stuff's being nice to me today. Usually it likes to give me a hard time. Elastic around. Makes so the bugs don't get in, you know what I mean? I think you know what I mean. You will know what I mean when you start making your own wine. And then we, few holes in the top, nice as you please. Whoops, I just dropped a pin. I'll have to take my big magnet and find that later. Actually, I see it, I can grab it. And that goes in the warm, dark place. I got it. These are giving me a hard time. I figured something would give me a hard time today. Okay. Now we gotta rinse the spoon again. Now we're going to make the light mead. Now with light mead I mean I'm using this beautiful honey which comes from here in Ashcroft, British Columbia. Unpasteurized, beautiful goodness. You gotta love that. So I'm going to be using this. It's an echinacea honey. It's beautiful stuff. Now that whole jar is going in there. This jar cost $8. I don't care, it's going to make me some fine goodness. Now, this is going to take a bit of time, so I'm going to put the honey in here and then show you that it's there and the rest of the process. So we'll get back to that in a few minutes. Okay, now as you can see, all of my honey that was in the jar is now in here. But when you want to get all of that goodness out, you add some hot water to your honey jar, give it a stir. Now you can do that once or twice, but once is only necessary. Now we want to mix that up some more. Mix, mix, mix it up. Good. Do the Bob Marley and stir it up. Now some people add cinnamon or raisins or other stuff, orange slices to this. I'm not one of those. I like the normal flavor of honey. Make sure to rinse your spoon every time you use it. Wooden spoons are the best. Now we're going to add the rest of our, oh wow, wait. First we have to add our yeast. 1 tablespoon per gallon is what I use. People say my wine is really, really good. I mean, I got one guy who says it's as good as moonshine. It only comes out between 16 and 20%. There we go. Now I'm going to give that a bit of a stir. Once again, a bit of a stir. There's the color it should be. This is a light honey mead. Now the reason I call it a light honey mead is because I only used half the honey, but I used 1 cup of sugar, which will help the yeast work. This will make the brewing time commensurate with all other wines that I make, which is about 25 to 28 days, and the wine is ready for bottling. Now we put on its hat, like so. Elastic band to hold it, like so. A few air holes to breathe, like so. And it goes in the nice warm dark place so it can work. Alright, I'm going to take a 5-minute break. Then we'll do the marijuana wine. Okay, and now for the 4th wine we're making today, or that I'm making today, that you might want to make another day. And there we go. Now the camera's nice. I'm making marijuana wine. Now I think I haven't heard of anybody else making marijuana wine. I do this all the time. It's really good. Actually, it has a wonderful sweet citrus flavor to it once it's turned into wine. Now, though, I do this in 2 different methods. This time I'm going to do it in the tea method. So I'm going to take some of my big bag of marijuana here, and this is leaf, you know, bud trimmings and the like, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach down into where the good stuff is, all ground up, and I'm going to take 2 good-sized handfuls like that, maybe 3 for this batch. About 2-3 ounces. Like so. You feel all that kief on my hands from all the pea buds and that underneath. There we go. That's nice. Alright. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that to a boil, just like making marijuana tea. So, I have my clean wooden spoon. Just going to push that down and in. Want it to bubble up nice. It doesn't have to boil for long. Just beautiful, just beautiful. It doesn't have to boil for long. You just have to bring it to a boil and then shut it off. It's got a beautiful smell to it. And there we go. I'm going to turn off the heat now. And I'm just going to let it steep for a few minutes. While I'm waiting for that to happen, as you see, I've already pre-measured out my sugar. I'm going to now dissolve my sugar. Just like in the last 3 batches that I did this video. Lukewarm water. About that much. Give it the Bob Marley and stir it up. Just like so. We'll give this another extra little windy like that. It looks good, it smells good. Alright. Now I'm going to take my marijuana wine and in she goes. Doesn't matter if I missed a little bit. That's alright. All the goodness comes off when you boil it anyhow, so yes. Alright. Now I'm going to give that a mix. And because that's way too hot right now to add my yeast, I'm going to add the rest of my water to this. I love the way marijuana smells when you boil it up. Yeah, that's way too warm. I'm not going to add my yeast to that yet. It's going to have to cool. We'll add in the rest of my cold water. Like so. Give it a stir. And I'm going to let that sit in the sink until it gets back to about room temperature. So, while it's doing that, we'll go do something else. I'm going to go set up the gold bowl, the blue bowl, to separate some more gold while we wait for this to cool down. Okay, the marijuana wine, I put it in the fridge for an hour, hour and a half, just to cool it down to room temperature. Where it is right now, it's just a perfect temperature. So now, we'll add our yeast. 1 tablespoon, just like I said before. There we go. And it goes. And we'll give it a stir, mixy up. I give it a stir like this because sometimes that yeast likes to clump together and then it won't go through the brewing process correctly. Alright, so now we're going to put our lid on. The cling wrap is actually being nice to me today, but I might have spoke too early. No, it's actually being nice to me today. There we go. Just as nice as you please. Elastic band around the top, like so. Grab our straight pin, couple holes so it can breathe. I use a really thin, small straight pin for this because you don't want the holes big enough for fruit flies to get in, and you know how big fruit flies are, but you want the holes large enough so that it can breathe. And The breathing is what it needs to do to off-gas for the brewing process. I managed to grab that needle. What do you know? Now where did the other one go? I have no idea. I'll find it later. Alright, so this is ready to go down and underneath now. So it can start its brewing process. Now, this is the cranberry one I started a month ago. And if you look really close in here, it's still got bubbles. It's not finished working yet. So, within the next couple days, that'll be ready for bottling, and I'll be happy. I'm still waiting for the fruit cocktail wine that I made the video of me bottling yesterday. It's in the fridge. I'm waiting for it to clear yet a bit. Probably by after dinner, I'll be able to have some. So, there you go. 4 different kinds of wine, one day. Now I'm going to have fun for the next 2.5 hours putting this video together, exporting it to the computer, and uploading it to YouTube. Everybody have fun, enjoy, drink responsibly.